Alrighty, welcome to a Loree demo. We're going to be showcasing Loree today in Anthology's Blackboard original LMS platform. I'm going to dive on in and jump into a course to get us started. You'll notice that within the left-hand menu here under your course tools, this is where you will actually find your Loree LTIs. Note we have a couple here, that's purely for testing purposes. You're going to go ahead and launch Loree to get yourself kick-started. Okay, here we go. Once Loree is launched, the first thing that you'll notice is you're not actually exposed to the editor right away. So the very first thing that you can do is actually navigate on through to information folders that you have or the content area, and Loree will allow you to go and fetch and edit existing folders or items that you have. Or what we can also do is support the adding of additional folders and items within this workflow. And once you go ahead and save that and head on back to the LMS, that'll be presented over there for you natively as well. In this instance, I do have a folder that I've pre-prepared called Anthology Together in anticipation of the conference. I do also have a page, Anthology Template 1. Now this is a blank page, and I've done that deliberately so that I can dive on in and showcase how you would actually start to build with the editor and introduce you to those concepts. But I often do get asked the question of what happens if we already have content present within Blackboard. Can we edit that? Absolutely. So any content that you already have present, once you launch Loree, you will be able to go ahead and edit that content, be it images, videos, text, what have you. So you'll be able to place that into Loree templates as well. Note that there is a little breadcrumb trail that appears along the top. So as you go to your content area, dive into a folder and select an element, that's going to go ahead and display itself up there and give you the opportunity to also quickly navigate backwards as well should you need to. Now let's dive on into the editing component. I'm going to go in here to my item that I previously created. As I said before, it is a blank element, or a blank page I should say. I'm going to go ahead and now start to introduce you to some of those building elements. Note that the very first thing that is available is the add row item. Now the way that you build in Loree is very similar to sort of a bag of Lego, if you will, or we also refer to it as a building on Rails experience. So everything that you build is going to live in rows and columns, and then this is when you are introduced to elements such as images, title, video, and what have you. I'll walk you through all of that in this demo. Now to kick off, we're going to go ahead and start off with a 2-column row. You can see that when I select that 2-column row, that an additional tray opens up, giving you access to a variety of pre-styled columns that you can use. Now we do have Bootstrap code that is built into all of these, and that will ensure that any items that you select are actually going to be responsive across your desktop, your tablet, and your mobile devices, and you won't have to think about how to get that working for your students. Now we're going to go ahead and pick the 60-40 here just for the purposes of the demo. You can see that on my left hand side I've got my 40 and on the right my 60. Now there is a little button up here in the top menu called Outline. I am very old school. I always turn this on, and that just gives you that very clear visibility of all your padding and margin as you go to build. Now that I have a column in place, you will note that there is a plus which appears. When I select this, this actually introduces me to my element menu, which lives along the left-hand side here. You can see there are a variety of elements available for you to use, and these all come out of the box with your Loree license. So you'll get the opportunity to navigate through a couple of those in today's demo. But I really do encourage you to reach out to the team, sign up for a sandbox, and play for yourselves to experience all of them. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start us off with images. So you can see when I select image, very similar to what you saw with the 2-column row before, I have a number of image options available to me. I'm going to go ahead for the purposes of this demo and just select image on its own. You can see that the very first lot of images that are available to us are images from the actual course files themselves. We also have access to Loree images. Now, Loree images is a collection of images that can be made available to your entire institution or the whole organization using Loree within your Blackboard LMS. Any templates that have images in them, once you choose to share these globally with your institution, those images will go on and be saved in your Loree images. And that creates that centralized repository for you. So I'm going to go ahead and use one of these in this demo. Note you can of course also upload new images and also use URLs as well as a reference. So we'll go ahead and select this student one here that I've pre-prepared. Going to go ahead and hit add to that. Note that we've built in accessibility touch points along the way. So we have things like the introduction of alt text while adding images, titles for videos, and even captions for tables. So this is ensuring that you address those accessibility elements as you're building to save you the need to go back later and rectify that. You can of course tick images as decorative as well, and that will of course also let you to add that to the page. So we're going to go ahead and tick that as decorative and hit add. Here is an image there on the left. On the right hand side, I'm now going to introduce you to the text element. So we'll go ahead and select the text element. Note again a couple of options available to us. I'm going to select header and text to start, and we'll start to populate this. I often get asked, where is the text editing taking place? And you will see now as I start to navigate and edit this that actually appears in situ. So I can go ahead now and update this header, and what I might do, just in the interest of filling that section out with a little bit of copy, is take some really quality lorem ipsum there and pop that in. So if I wanted to update anything about this text, select particular areas, highlight, play with background color, font style, anything of that nature, that all lives in this pop-up menu that you can see here. This gives me the opportunity also to create bullet lists and also to link to external sites. So you have the opportunity to do that via this method as well. I want to take a moment now and showcase how from this you can start to go ahead and build out an entire page and a web-like layout. So now that I have a single row in place, I can select that single row. Note that the row has its own little mini menu which appears in the top left-hand corner. I now have the opportunity to do things like duplicate that particular section. In my second row, I can say, do you know what? I want to go ahead and move the image from the left over to the right-hand side. So I have the opportunity to do that. I can now also update this second image. So we'll go ahead in there and pick another one that we've pre-uploaded. Again, we'll just flag that as decorative as well. And I can even do things like select an entire row and apply a background color to that section. So this gives us the opportunity to dive on in and play with background colors there. You can see that you have the option of hex and RGBA value, and of course the full color spectrum as well. So once I'm happy with something that I've started to lay out, I can now easily go back to areas that I've pre-built and continue to add additional elements to them. So in this one here, I may say I want to go ahead and pop in a little line divider, and I can do that like so. I can also move those elements up and down. So now when I select the line divider, I can go ahead and move that above the text element. To edit anything around padding, margin for each of these elements, all you need to do is select the item. So in this instance, I've selected my image here and navigate to the left-hand menu. The left-hand menu in Loree is continuously dynamically changing. So this is where you're going to have the opportunity to edit all your videos, images, and text elements as well. So if I wanted to go ahead and change the size and ensure that was full width and scaling, I could go and do so. I also have the opportunity here to play with alignment, to apply background colors and border colors as well. And for my text here, let's say I thought that there was a little bit of too much space between my header and my divider element. I could select that, head on over to space, note that there is a 10 pixel margin. I can delete that, and there we go. So that's bringing the header and the divider a little closer together there. To have a look at what your content is shaping up like, as I said earlier, we do have that bootstrap code in place, so you may want to go and validate your design for responsiveness. There is an inbuilt preview tool in the editor available there in the top navigation, so you can simply click on that at any point during your build and get a little bit of a look as to how that content will scale across a desktop, a tablet, and of course a mobile phone device. So that will show you how those elements that you've just built there are going to fall nicely in line of each other. Now, the real value add of Loree is not just the ease with which you can build new content, but it really is the template functionality that's available within the tool. So what I'm going to do now is clear this here and introduce you to some template content that we have pre-built. So I'm going to go ahead and clear that. Wonderful. Note that there is an undo and a redo button available as well. So if you've cleared something and thought, I've made a terrible mistake, you can always undo and bring that right on back. I am going to clear that though, because that was the intent, and we will dive on into templates. So templates, you'll notice that they are available in the top menu here of the editor. Once I hit templates, you'll see that there are two categories. So I have my global templates and my templates. Global templates are templates which are shared at the whole institution level. This is a really great way to help promote a standardized delivery, an approach, and a look and feel across all of your offerings. And here we have my templates, and my templates are the templates that you build as an individual designer or educator, and these will follow you in any course offering in which you go to continue to build out content. Note that your templates, once they're saved, can actually be saved in accordance with categories. You can set these categories as an institution so that they're meaningful to yourselves, and you can always filter by category and of course direct by name search as those template lists get really long and lengthy. Now, I'm going to head on over and upload a template that we have pre-built in the past just for the purposes of the demo again. So we've got our Loree template here that was pre-built. I can go ahead and preview that here, and when I'm happy that this is the one that I want to proceed with, I simply select Add as a User. Now, what I can do is actually jump on in and just manipulate some of the elements that have been pre-created for me. So again, really great way to set those templates, establish a style, a look and feel, and then of course share them with your educators or your design team to ensure that consistency across the board. So I've gone in, I'm not a coding teacher, I may deliver content in art. So I can now jump on in and I can go ahead and update the areas of the template that I'm instructed to update. So in this instance, this is going to say Art 101. I can also now go ahead and update that top banner. So all I need to do is double click on that and you can see that my library becomes available to me. I'm going to go to my Loree images and I can actually filter by all my banner images. So I do believe I have an arty one here somewhere. Here we go, we've got these wonderful colouring pencils. So we're going to go ahead and add that. Again, I will tag it as decorative. There we go. Note that this image is a little bit smaller from the previous one, but again, if we just want to ensure that scales to full screen, we select that element, head on over to the left-hand menu and select full width, and this will ensure that it's going to scale with the rest of the design across all devices. I may want to do things now like go ahead and update the background color of this top module to suit my particular offering. So again, I can select that edit row, background color, and I can go ahead and apply something else. So maybe I want to do a dark gray, for example, in this instance. I also now have the opportunity to duplicate particular areas that have been preset for me. So in this instance, they've established week 1 overview. I know in my particular course, I want to offer a week 2 overview as well. So I'm going to go ahead and make this week 2 overview. And again, I want to go ahead and create that little bit of a balanced layout. So we'll go ahead and move our image on the second section over to the right-hand side. There is a video in place. I'm going to keep this. This is meeting, in this instance, meeting our Loree CSM here. But you do have the opportunity, of course, also to double click that and make a change or an update to that video as you see fit. Note that we do have Cultura integrated with Blackboard today. So this will allow you to integrate your own existing Cultura account and fetch and utilize those videos. Likewise, we also support YouTube and Vimeo as well. I'm going to go ahead and X out of that since I do want to keep this video. And you can see that there is an interactive that's been embedded here as well. We will leave that for the purposes of the demo, but what I do want to do is introduce you to the concept of building Loree interactives from scratch on the fly. So in this particular section up here, I may want to go ahead and add a new interactive element of some accordions for my particular course, and let's introduce you to that workflow now. Alrighty, now you can select any column or any row, as I said earlier, and continue to add additional elements to that. So under our Welcome to Art banner, we're going to go ahead and hit our plus, and we've got our little library of elements that appear. Down here you can see we have our Loree interactives, so I'm going to go ahead and launch that for us. and introduce us to the concept of building an interactive within Loree with zero code. And I cannot stress that enough. Everything you've seen here today, including building from scratch, starting from a template, editing an existing template, we've not once had to touch HTML, which is just wonderful for somebody who is not as tech savvy, like myself. Now, I'm going to go ahead and dive in to create a new interactive. Note that within our library, we currently have 9 interactives available to us. This is basically has come about based on feedback from our wonderful community, and it is a space that we're continuing to grow in. So if you do start to play with Loree and engage with those interactives and feel there's something that's missing that I'd love to see, we really welcome and value that feedback. So please do feel free to share that with us. Now, for the purposes of this particular demo, I'm going to dive on in and create an accordion component. So we'll hit create and I'll walk you through that form now. Essentially, all you need to do as a user is complete a form. So again, as I said earlier, we're not touching any code. I'm going to go ahead and call this accordion for days, and we'll just go ahead and start to add some content. So I'm feeling travel on my mind, so we'll go ahead and make this one about travel. Again, just taking some lorem ipsum copy there to populate that with. To add a second panel, it is as easy as selecting the add second panel button, and this one down here might be Malta, so we're going to go ahead and add some more copy there, and we'll do a third accordion just for good measure, and this one might be Romania, and we'll go ahead and pop some copy in there. Now note, if I wanted to, for example, make Malta my first accordion element, I can simply pick that up and drag it above Italy, and there it is. Within the actual accordion component itself, so that's that section of content that is collapsible and expandable, you have the freedom to edit that copy, so I can go ahead and do things like manipulate style, highlight particular areas. I can also insert media, so images from my desktop, and also media links from external sites as well. We have the opportunity from this point to preview what we're building. So if you want to get a sense of how that's going to shape up like out of the box, we're going to go ahead and hit the preview item, and that's going to show you this is what the accordion will look like by default. The real added value of Loree Interactives though is that next level. So from this point, you have the opportunity to actually customize what your interactive is going to shape up like. I'm going to go ahead and expand the left-hand navigation menu there, and you can see that you have some style elements available to you. From here, we can actually go ahead and play with things like font family, size. We can also decide to play with colors. So in this instance, I'm going to make my text white on that particular accordion, and I'm going to go ahead and manipulate the background color to maybe something like a dark gray. I can also go ahead and play with the alignment of where the text lives, so it can be left aligned, right aligned, or centered. In this instance, I'm going to go ahead and center that. Note that we do have a border outline option as well. So by default, it is sharp edges. I'm going to go ahead and make this one rounded now so that you can see the difference. And again, when it comes to the icons, it is a default of that sort of triangle arrow, but we do have the plus minus that we can play with as well. So we'll go and select that for this demo. And then we have a border element. Now this particular style actually styles the area of text that your accordion expands. So you've got the opportunity to manipulate what that looks like to some degree. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of a left-hand border outline, and we'll just give it some style. So I may want to go ahead and make that blue. And I can then go ahead and set a border width of 3 pixels, for example. Now when I hit preview, you'll see all those changes that we made from that previous grey, white and black sort of basic interactive. Here we go. There's our white text, grey background. We've got our plus minus. It's center aligned. And when I expand this, I've got my blue detail line to the left-hand side. When I'm happy with what I have and feel pretty chuffed, all I do is go and hit the create button. That's going to create that interactive and save it for you so that you can continue to reuse it. If at this point you feel like, you know what, I'm going to head home and continue to build out some more interactives that I know I want to use on this page or the one after. You can. Likewise, also, you can completely X out of that. The left-hand navigation is going to automatically update and showcase the most recent interactive that you've built at the top. Again, similar to as I shared in templates, you can of course filter by category and by name the longer that list gets. So in this instance, here's my accordion for days. I'm going to pop that in the page. There it is. And I'm really feeling proud of this page, really happy with the layout. You're probably wondering at this point, this is great, it looks easy. How do I get this back to the LMS? So how do I save it back to my Blackboard page? So what we're going to do is refer to these three little icons along the bottom here. The first one there is Save to LMS. So we're going to go ahead and hit Save to LMS. What we actually do at this point is also perform a quick accessibility check as we're saving that content back to the LMS. You'll note that in the top right hand corner here where we have the accessibility icon, this now indicates the number 2, which means that there are 2 items that have been flagged that we feel that you might wish to address before you continue to publish that content. You can go ahead and open that accessibility tray and walk through those issues that were flagged. You can fix them on the spot, or you can say, you know what, we'll go ahead and leave that for now, close it, and I can come back to it later. Now, I have a second tab that I had opened so that I can show you how quickly that content has saved on over to Blackboard. Note the item that we were working in was Anthology Template 1. When I head on over to that second tab, go to my content section, head to the Anthology Together area. Here is that template. So we've got our item at the top here where we changed the background color. We've got our welcome to art, header change, our banner. We have our wonderful interactive that we've built, of course, there in place as well. The weekly reading and my week 1, week 2 overview. And there's our video, so embedded there beautifully and playing wonderfully. This is an example of another interactive as well, the accordion. And that is really what that content is going to look like. Note again, as we said, that is all responsive. I can, of course, go to preview now that I have more built out and get a sense of what that's looking like across a mobile device. Note that our interactives are also responsive there as well. Alrighty, I feel like I've done a lot of talking at you. You can see that Loree is a really powerful tool and gives you really great flexibility to build and design wonderful learning experiences for your learners. At this point, we encourage you to reach out to the team, get your hands on it, and have a chat with them. And we hopefully will see you at our booth and have a wonderful time at Anthology Together 2022. Thank you.